We are currently living in a boom period for video games right now. A bunch of games are releasing, some high profile, some of the best games of all times have just released or are just around the corner. I'm talking games like Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, The Outer Worlds 2, the new Pokemon game, Ninja Gaiden 4, Little Nightmares 3, Battlefield 6. And that's why I'm playing Gravity Rush, the 2012 PlayStation Vita game. Let's do it. Hello there, my internet friends. My name is Soul, and today I am brushing off a game that has been sitting in my backlog for a very long time. I'm sure any anime game that's for a cheap price I eventually will buy from the PlayStation Store, and that's what I did with Gravity Rush. And even though I probably spent 4 figures worth of money on my gaming backlog, I could chip away a couple dollars right here, right now. Playing a technically Vita game, and I was a Game Boy Nintendo DS kid. I've never even held a Vita. I don't even know if my hands would know what to do with that thing. Thankfully, one of its standout games, Gravity Rush, was remastered for the PlayStation 4. So even someone like me who's never even held a PlayStation Vita has now technically played a PlayStation Vita game. But what is Gravity Rush? It might seem like a steampunky anime game on the surface, but it's actually a little bit deeper than that. I want to take you back to when Isaac Newton sat under the apple tree and the apple fell onto his head, and he instantly thought, oh, I gotta make like a steampunk anime game starring a cat girl who can control gravity. As far as the synopsis of the story, I'm not gonna give you a good synopsis. I've played this game in the background for a very long time, and whenever I did pick it up, it just felt like any other like overcomplicated Japanese game where it's girl with amnesia, she's probably underage and they sexualize her way too often. She slowly starts to gain and upgrade her abilities, and when this happens, she's kind of like the local hero of this town that is under this very corrupted political government. I say government, it's a town with an evil mayor, like it's not that grand scale. So she has to upgrade from local hero to spy and maid. Again, it's a very Japanese game. But what you're actually here for is the gameplay. You hit one button and you're flying through the skies, you're shooting your character in every direction, any wall you can stick to. You can flip any location completely upside down, and it's almost like you have a whole new location. And it's never perfect. Your character is a little hard to steer or land sometimes, but I think that's almost better. It's right in that pocket of you're able to do whatever you're trying to do, but it's always going to be a little bit of a hit or miss situation where you have to keep trying and do things a little bit better next time. But as far as the main gimmick of the game, controlling gravity, they hit it on its head. And not only that, they do a couple other things, like you can slide through the streets, and you're going to be fighting a lot of enemies with this mechanic as well. And what that mostly sums up to is you kick them. You are kicking enemies non-stop. I've kicked probably hundreds of enemies in this game. But it's a little gaming loop that I never got sick of. You explore, you come across some enemies, you kick them, you keep on exploring. There's some story spruced in through those things. It's a fun loop. It's also a little bit of a collectathon. It's really only one thing you're collecting, which are these like gemstones that make a really cool sound whenever you get them, which lights up my little baby brain. These gemstones upgrade all your abilities, your health, your ability to kick things and slide and all this. It is satisfying upgrading your main abilities, but a lot of the other side ones like evading and stuff like that, you're really not going to be doing a whole lot. So those, if you leave them on in the background, it's not a big deal. And eventually, like collecting the gemstones, I will always do it. If I see a gemstone like 2 miles upside down, I will always go to get it. But I just wish there were more things to collect. I wish the things I was collecting were more satisfying than just the sound they make when I collect them. And for a 2012 Vita game, it actually felt super modern. A lot of like your modern sensibilities, especially in the controller, were completely present here. There's a microphone in the controller that makes sound effects, and because the art style is so distinct, it didn't felt like I was just playing like an older game. It just felt like I was playing a cool indie game or a game with like a really interesting art style, but otherwise felt very modern. And my favorite part of the gameplay was just exploring the world, which, let's talk about that. There are a lot of little different locations in this game. They're all under the same kind of steampunky aesthetic, but some are a lot more grungier than others. And those were always my favorite moments of the game. When I got to a new location, I start tackling these little challenge missions they have where you do little tasks. They have little side missions that I think were DLC, but they're obviously in this game for the complete package. As fun as kicking things are, or even the story, like I like the comic book aesthetic of the storytelling where it feels like you're flipping through a comic book and it weaves into the actual gameplay animations like wonderfully. I love that kind of stuff. But my favorite part was just baking in this game's aesthetics. Before playing this game, I wouldn't know what a steampunky anime European setting kind of video game would feel like or sound like, but now that I'm here, I love it. The soundtrack always hits, it's never uninteresting. Some of the areas like the rifts where the locations really open up and you can just soar around, those are some of the best looking parts of this game. Character designs are wonderful. Cat has a plethora of outfits that you get through doing certain missions. Raven is like this little emo girl that is kind of like your rival antagonist and turns into your friend. And what you end up with is a beautiful little game world. It's not like gonna be this hard-hitting story. If anything, it felt like they definitely knew Gravity Rush 2 was gonna happen. It felt like there was a lot more setup than payoff. It felt like we were introducing characters that were gonna be defined maybe in the next game. I'll wait and see how that happens, but it still felt like they really wanted you to get into this world. There's like an animation out there. They try to pack little bits of detail, little bits of world building whenever they can. The characters, I'm gonna admit it, other than Cat and, you know, Dusty, your little duo, everyone else is really not that interesting. I don't really care about these orphan kids. I don't really care about what Raven's getting into half the time. Again, I don't dislike any of these characters, but they're just there to give you mission and give you like little bits of dialogue going into them. But what you're here for is flying around these levels, collecting the gemstones, listening to the soundtrack, baking in the atmosphere. That's what this game's about. And that's what I was here for. I'll give my own little unique perspective here. I played this game, I think, over like a 2-year time span. And what happened was I played a couple hours of it and then like whatever new shiny game took over. And, you know, I was like, okay, I'll just leave it installed when I get back to it. Then I think like all the Elden Rings and Persona 5s happened. And it took me a very long time to come back. But I came back. I played like another 50-60% of the game, so I'm like 80% of the way done at this point. And then I think I moved over to Xbox because like my Game Pass thing was gonna expire and I was trying to play all my Game Pass games before that ended. I think that's happened with PlayStation 2. Like I knew I was gonna cancel PlayStation, so I tried to play a bunch of games on there. I'm trying to play whatever new games I care about. Like, there's always something that was more time sensitive that always came up. But now that I've canceled all my subscription services, now I'm just going through my backlog right now. And Gravity Rush still there. And I always liked playing the game. Every time I turned it on, you play, there's like 21 episodes, so I always played like an episode or two. And now here I am like 2 fucking years later, and I've gotten all the outfits, I did all the DLC missions. I'm not doing every single challenge. I'm definitely not gonna fucking platinum this game. I didn't love the game that much, but I did have a great time. I can see myself in a couple years just hopping back into my profile just to fly around, maybe eventually do some side stuff. And that's why I was trying to highlight like the world and the atmosphere, because that's what left it installed on my PlayStation for like 2 years now, and that's why I kept coming back to it. It was like a game that I loved to the point where I was like, oh, I gotta come back to this. And I eventually did, and I had a great time with it, and that's why I'm going to give Gravity Rush an 8 out of 10. I guess I'll download Gravity Rush 2 now, but I'm not gonna jump into it right away. So maybe that will sit on my PlayStation for another 2 years. We'll see what happens. But if there's anybody out there who played Gravity Rush who have any opinions about it, please leave them in the comments down below. I'm trying to remember everything else I'm supposed to say. I'm bad at outros. There's a hype button. Hit the hype button. I'm supposed to say that now. I know that. I have a second channel where I do more straightforward reviews. I have a TikTok. Subscribe, like the video. I'm a small channel, so little things like thumbsing up the video, leaving a comment, that boosts me out so much, like you have no idea. And if you're one of the few people who made it to the end of the video, you're in the special camp of people I love, and I'm gonna give you a gold star. Gold star for you, buddy. Good job. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, with that, I leave.